I'm not warning anybody when I do it, I'm just going to do it, yeah. Okay, so, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. So welcome to the Town Council meeting, everyone. And I would ask at this time to have an adoption of the agenda, please.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zelinski. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Any questions or comments? Call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Item number 3 on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zelinski. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the committee of the whole minutes of the April 11, 2016 be hereby approved, all statutory declarations having been complied with.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Give me 1 second. Item number 4 is citizens period. Are there any citizens who wish to make a presentation to council? Okay, if we can just get you to step forward to the microphone there and state your name and your civic address for the record, please.
It's Kathy Johnson and Jamala Kadre. We live at 1261 Halcrow. We're just here for concern over an invoice we were sent for some work that was done on a tree removal in the fall. So we had spoke to, what was his first name? Eric Johnson? No. Hopper.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric Hopper. And we talked to him in the fall about doing some work to remove some anthills and some dead trees around the property. So he'd come out and had it assessed, and he said that all the trees would have to be removed from both sides of the boulevard because they're too far damaged to save. And one tree in particular, he said, could have been on our property, their property, our town property. So he did kind of an eyeball survey, and then he brought it back to committee. I'm not sure this committee or just a maintenance committee, but he said they felt that it could be partially on our property so that they would want us to pay some of the removal of that tree. So he said, okay, so how would we go about doing that? Who's going to cut it down? And he said he would get a quote from, help me with the man's name. He lives at Don Dunnigan, right. So he said he's the only guy the town uses for tree removals because they can't do it themselves. Okay, so I said, all right, so what would be the price? He said, I don't know, we need a quote. So I said, okay, well, I'm not willing to say I'm going to pay half of a bill I don't know, so let's talk to him, find out how much it would be. He said, okay, sounds good. So he tried to get a hold of Dunnigan. He couldn't successfully get any quote from him. I tried to get a hold of him. I spoke to his wife. I left messages on his machine, and Dunnigan never returned any of my calls. I did see Eric a few times when he was dropping his kid off at daycare. I work at MBCI. He was dropping his kid off at daycare. As he's coming out, I'm saying, I can't get a hold of that guy. He said, yeah, I can't either. He said, well, it might not happen this fall. Okay, it might not. It was getting to be close to the end of October. So we believed nothing was going to happen. And then on Halloween, both of us were at work for the day. We went out to a party in the evening, and when we came home at 2 in the morning, I'm like, is the tree gone? And then we realized that someone had been there in the day and cut down the tree. So we were like, who said the tree is going to go down? Who's paying for this tree removal? We don't even know who came to the property to cut it down. So we don't hear from anything. And then in December, I get an invoice from the town stating that it's a $2,000 bill to have that one tree removed, and they would like us to pay $1,000 of that. And I was like, I do not think so. Every time I'm checking quotes, no one's telling me it's $2,000 to remove one tree. So I don't know why the bill is as extreme as it was for that tree, and it's not what we agreed to with Hopper when he came. We both agreed that we need to find out what the quote would be before, because we felt if it was too high, we'd be buying a chainsaw ourselves and getting a group of people and taking down the tree ourselves, because there's other trees that have to come down, and we weren't going to be willing to pay an astronomical amount. Even at half, I still think 1,000 is an astronomical amount from what this guy charged. So I don't know there's nobody else in town to get a quote from for one tree removal, but we tried to find out who we're supposed to talk to. We sent emails back and forth to Jody, and she's trying to find out about it, but she's not telling me who the head of maintenance is anymore. So I don't know who to talk to, and I don't want to keep going back and forth between a financial clerk running messages to whoever I'm supposed to be speaking to. I want to go and speak to the people and find out what it is. And her last email was, well, why don't you give us a dollar amount you're willing to pay then? Like, really, at this point, I'm not willing to pay anything. I'm sick of this. Like, this shouldn't have happened in the first place, and this is kind of nonsense that I've been running around for months. So I told her, like, yeah, we'd be willing to pay $200 at this point, because we never agreed to any of this, of $2,000 from whatever Dunnigan has charged for. So she said, well, for your information, there's a town meeting. So I said, all right, that's where we'll go then. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell us who this maintenance group is we're supposed to talk to, or who is deciding this stuff, or if this is the group that decides it. I'm not sure. We need to be given to the right people.
Yeah, so
though.
we don't necessarily have a maintenance group. We do have committees. I'm not sure which committee Eric would have reported that to, if it would have been Public Works or if he would have reported it. So, I mean, it did go through a committee. Eric, I don't know if you're aware, but he's no longer with us. So we do have a new maintenance director. I don't know if this is something that we would kind of give to him at this point, because there's kind of a little bit of a history and a backstory. So we definitely will get the appropriate department people to look into it and to kind of get more information on where the quote came from, why it was so high, and that sort of thing. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you to give us a little bit of time to get back to you, because we also need to kind of get the history, I guess, if you will, on the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd actually heard that Eric was gone when the tree came down. Like I'd said to him, like, I don't see him anymore. And he said, oh, I don't think he's with the town anymore. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't know how this story's going, but this isn't good. Especially since there's still about 20 trees that are rotting away there due to an infestation of anthills all over the boulevards. Like, these hills are so big when I'm cutting the grass, it's stopping the lawn mower blade. It's probably the only piece of the boulevard that hasn't been taken care of there, and I'm not sure why it hasn't been, but it's totally ruining my lawn care equipment, because I don't have industrial lawn care to take care of that boulevard. But I can't just leave it, because it's not like the town is going to come and do one strip. So I don't know, besides the town coming and removing all that dead stuff so we can get it started to be cut, I don't know what else we can do. And he said that would happen last fall, but then he wasn't working before that happened.
Yeah, again, I can
I know,
tell you,
I'm just like, I want you to have the full story, so when you talk to maintenance,
for sure.
that they
And I
will-
don't know if you've already, like you said, you were emailing back and forth with Jody, but maybe what would be helpful is if you could kind of do a letter that has like a timeline of when things happen, so that we can have that, like pretty much what you've told us today, but if you can leave that with us.
Yeah, I can just give you all this. This
Okay,
is just
for
all the
sure.
correspondence back
Yep,
and forth.
that's
And the
awesome.
first email kind of gives an outline of what happened with Eric and us in the fall.
Okay, for sure. Thank you. And we'll get back to you.
Great.
And your contact information is, I guess, your email address is in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We can add our cell number.
For sure. Or like even your box number, yeah, your mailing address.
And who would we expect to get back to us?
Either myself or the maintenance director, but the maintenance director hasn't had any contact with this, so it'll probably be myself or Jen.
Okay. Great, thank you guys.
Thank you. Feel free to stay for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's some exciting stuff.
Sure.
Not this one.
Never know.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to make a presentation before we move along? Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, CAO report.
So the following is an update as it relates to various departmental reports as at April 18th, 2016. Museum has a temporary exhibit called We Were Taught Differently. It's on loan from Lake of the Woods Museum, and there have been quite a few groups that have viewed the exhibit. KRC submitted a grant to Community Youth Recreation Program to continue with the Community Nights program, which has been a success for the last couple of years. KRC also received $11,000 from the Recreation Opportunities Program to be used for operational requirements. This is a joint funding that's done with the Arm and Kelsey and the town of Paw for providing recreational services. We also received $2,500 for joint funding with Kelsey School Division under the Supporting Joint Use of School and Community Recreation Facilities Grant Program. As you can see, KRC has been applying and receiving a fair amount of grants. KRC was also approved for 4 students under the Urban Hometown Green Team, 2 students for the Kids Camp, and 2 for the Maintenance Department for this summer. Lacrosse has also started April 19th. There was 25 kids enrolled at that time. Chief Fire Prevention Officer has commenced the review of building permit applications. He's been setting up permissions to forms for construction that doesn't quite fit a building permit. We are kind of changing the way we do business as it relates to building permit applications. In the past, you didn't necessarily require permits, but what we do is want to start a process to ensure that we do have a record of when things were built so that we can put it on file with your property. Chief Fire Prevention Officer has also been educating contractors as to what the expectations are of the town moving forward. We will be submitting a letter to the Office of the Fire Commissioner fairly shortly, requesting that our agreement be terminated with them, as we're going to be able to provide those services. So that'll be an income in our pocket rather than paying it to the Office of the Fire Commissioner for building inspections.
When is that slated for?
We have to give 30 days notice, so probably June 1st we're going to be taking over. Yeah. Yeah, they will be reimbursing us because we had to pay the contract up front.
Yeah. They prorated it, right?
Yeah. And in the interim, the public safety officer duties, he's still going to be doing a few of the issues because we have ongoing issues, so we're still going to carry on until we have a new public safety officer hired. We're not exactly getting piles of applications, so if anybody's listening, if you know anybody interested, please send them our way. We had inspection for our boilers. They were all verified. We did pretty good. That was the first week of our maintenance director's job. I think it was day 2 and passed, and it was quite a relief for him, I'm sure. We also have a new work order system set up for the maintenance department, and it's working quite well. It's giving us a better tracking system on what's been done, what needs to be done, and what the issues were so that we can keep records moving forward if we have ongoing problems. Maintenance director has already implemented some really positive changes in the operations at the arena and at the wellness center, and just he's really moving forward quickly. Bell Avenue outfall project is now complete. The force main on Bell Avenue was repaired. Sewer jetting and thawing of sewers has been ongoing. Ironically, this is happening mostly when our weather warms up and it starts pushing the frost. So this is our busy time. Public Works has been trying to coal patch potholes, however, they're not lasting very long. As you can see around town, they're repairing them, and within a couple of days, they're already knocked out, and Highways is going through the same problem. Usually once a week, they're doing the coal patch on some of the bigger holes. Town is also looking into geothermal energy savings for town facilities. LED lighting application has been submitted to Hydro. We're waiting for approval. Public water service report has been posted on the website for those who are wanting to view it. So anybody in the public wants to view your water service report, it's on our site. Working on hazard reports for the airport. This is part of the safety management system requirements. And receiving several inquiries actually for the lake lots and the process for building on them. It's summertime, so that seems to be the construction excitement for people. So hopefully, and that's my report.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Randy before we move on?
What was the dollar amount once we, or you guys, get rid of the agreement with the province for building inspector?
I think we paid $17,000 a year, so we'll be getting back just over half of that.
And we get the fees that.
Yep.
Yeah, now we get to keep
Technically, right now, they've been very minimal in fees. So yeah, come June 1st, that's when our construction will start, so it's perfect timing.
Okay, moving along to item number 6, bylaws, 6.1 procedural bylaw, second reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4539, being a bylaw of the town of the Paw to regulate proceedings and conduct of council and the committees thereof, and to repeal bylaw number 4501, be read a second time as amended.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions or comments? Brian?
Yeah, I have one question with regard to that is of concern that I regret I just saw earlier today. And it's under section N. I don't know what, let me see. Proceed, no. Yeah, under section N, it simply states that if the chair desires to present or second a motion or participate in the debate, he or she can do so without leaving the chair. And I guess my concern is, in all my experiences in dealing on boards and councils, the chair would normally, as I believe was in the past, or currently is, you step out of the chair if you wish to enter into the debate. When you think about it, the importance of that is simply that a chair cannot debate with themselves as to whether they're taking a right or wrong stance. If they're allowed to do two things, be the chair and participate and move a motion or second a motion, I regret that the mayor's not here to talk about it, but I'm not sure exactly where that came from, so.
If I can comment on that, Brian, it has been included in our bylaws in the past. Basically, your mover and seconder are to get the motion on the table. That's basically what it is. So in the past, we have had where, especially if there was just a balance of quorum, that is exactly what took place, is the mayor at the time would put their name to the resolution, and it was just to put the resolution on the table. And then when it came to discussion, the question was asked just like we do now.
Well, but what this says is the mayor, while remaining as the chair, will also be in the midst of the discussion, debate, moving, seconding, and so when anything is called into question, how does one rule upon themselves? Because normally the chair is an impartial sort of third party. They stay one step removed from it. Or you give up the chair and you move into the debate, and then you get the chair back when the issue's over.
Basically, under the Municipal Act, they have every right, just like anybody else. They don't break the tie vote. They vote on everything just like every member of council does. In the past, it used to be kind of different. Since 1996, when the Municipal Act changed, that's when we moved forward doing it this way.
But
Yeah.
so is that in the existing bylaw?
Yeah.
This is not new?
Is it not? This one wasn't? It was just the practice that we did, and we moved it in there.
In the existing bylaw, the mayor or the mayor would remove himself from the chair, but that is not how we do it.
No.
And that was what this bylaw was all about, the way we are doing things, which is why it was changed this way. And throughout the procedural manual, when I reviewed these, you could do it either or. They could remove themselves from the chair, or they didn't have to. It was whatever way the council decided to do practice.
And we have in the last past practice done it that way. And
Where
I think,
he's
like I
not
said, that
removing
changed
himself.
in 96 when we moved the way we proceeded with the meeting readings.
Chad?
Yep.
I just had a quick question. So
It's okay.
the way that we're doing things now, well, if the mayor had to leave his chair to participate in a debate, how would it change the way that our meetings are right now?
Just like it would for any member of council. That's basically, if you have the right to debate, the mayor has a right to debate. He has every decision just like the rest of you
But
do.
he would just have to say, I would remove myself as the chair, Crystal would have to go and sit
Yeah.
as the deputy.
Oh, they'd actually have to
Yes,
switch chairs?
they would literally have to,
When
Okay.
he speaks in that moment, yes.
Really? Okay. So,
Like,
And that's not
especially
how
more of
our-
a conflict.
and that's not how our past practice is. He does not remove
no,
himself from the
we've
chair as
never
the
done
mayor,
it that way. So, okay, that's fine. I'm
which
good
is
with
why
it.
it was changed.
Just to legitimize what we're already doing.
correct.
For sure. Okay.
Reflect our practice.
You're okay with moving forward with the bylaw? Alan? Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, I will call the vote then. All those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Carried. Six point 1.1 procedural bylaw, or sorry, 6.12, third reading of the procedural bylaw.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4539, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to regulate the proceedings and conduct of council and the committees thereof, and to repeal bylaw number 4501, be read a third time and be passed.
Okay, so this one is a recorded vote. Councillor Gibb.
Yes?
Councillor Forward is absent. Councillor Rock.
Nay.
Councillor Zelinski.
Aye.
Councillor Commodore. Yes. And I am also an aye, and Mr. Scott is absent. So motion is carried. Item number 6.2, organizational bylaw, second reading, 2-1, sorry.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number, excuse me. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4540, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to govern the organization of the Town of the Paw and the committees thereof, and to repeal bylaw number 4521, be read a second time as amended.
Any questions or discussion on this one? Okay, I will call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Third reading of the organizational bylaw.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4540, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to govern the organization of the Town of the Paw and the committees thereof, and to repeal bylaw number 4521, be read a third time and be passed.
Thank you. So again, recorded vote. Councillor Gibb.
Yes?
Councillor Rock.
Yes.
Councillor Zelinski.
Aye.
Councillor Commodore.
Yes.
And also an aye. It's carried. Item number 6.3, fire prevention and emergency service bylaw.
Oops.
Need your signature. Okay, now I can do it.
Moved by myself. Second by Councillor Gibb. Resolved that bylaw number 4547, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to provide for firefighting, fire prevention, the related regulations of fire and other hazards, the adoption of the Manitoba Fire Code, and for establishing, continuing, and operating an emergency fire service to be known as the Fire Prevention and Emergency Service Bylaw, and to repeal bylaw number 4475, be read a first time.
Okay, I will call the question, or any questions or comments? Yes, sorry.
Is this in regards solely to the change in hours? Okay. I was wondering, I don't know if this works for you guys, just because it works for me doesn't mean it's right, that when they're presented, you know, in Word, you have it strike through, and then underneath you have the new stuff that's highlighted, and then after you accepted the changes, it all goes through. Is there a way that when we see the resolutions presented, we could have it presented that way, then you can look and say, okay, this is what's going out and this is what's going in, without causing, or is there going to be a big pain in the
It
rear
depends on
end?
how much resolution, how much the bylaw's changing, you have a
Yeah,
full-page
okay.
resolution, then.
So in this case, it would work because it's easy, and other ones it wouldn't work.
But I think in the past, what's been done is when a bylaw like that, when presenters reading the resolution, they say,
Yeah.
I've noticed Andrew's done it in the past,
Yeah.
this and this has
With the
changed.
change.
And if the change is that big, the change has been addressed at the previous committee of the whole meeting.
Right.
It's up to you guys how you want to be presenting that.
Just glad it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Anyways, you answered my question.
Yeah, so this one is
Yep.
changing the amount of hours that our firefighters will be training and doubling it so that they practice once a week as opposed to once every other week, is what the change to this bylaw is. Yep.
So, this is kind of for administration as well. So we're not, there, citizens, like town people aren't allowed to have any fires whatsoever on their properties without a burning permit? Or am I reading this?
Generally in town, you don't get a burning permit. That's, when you're getting your burning permits, it's mostly for out town in the country.
Well, no, not a, I guess, not a burning permit, but I would,
Like a fire pit?
Sorry.
yeah, can people have fire pits? Or am I just,
People can have fire pits, but they're regulated, right?
You have, it's got to meet certain standards, and it is
have to have a
basically to
grade.
provide food for your family. You can't have it for a joyous occasion. You must have a fork for your hot dog located in the vicinity of your fire.
really? Okay.
I just told you how to have a fire.
S'mores count.
So as long as there's a marshmallow or a hot dog nearby and you've got the proper fire pit, you're okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, that's fine,
And it
okay.
has to meet certain regulations. What has happened in the past is people were getting a little carried away in the size of their fire pit along with the height, so it
Yeah.
did become an issue. And generally, if you're ticking off your neighbors by having smoke going into their house, they can call us and we'd end up going and saying, look, you have to shut down.
Okay,
It's not meant to be offensive to anyone.
sure. No, yeah. 100%.
Okay, so can I call a vote?
Go for it.
All right, all those in favor? It's carried. Okay, item number 7.31, the Pacoed Slow Pitch League.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Gibb. Resolved that council authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Paul Slow Pitch League with regards to the daily maintenance of the ball diamonds for a term from May 16th to September 30th, 2016. Great job on their part.
Yes. All right, any questions or comments on this? So this is an agreement that we sign with Slow Pitch every year so that they do all the maintenance work on the ball diamonds for us and makes everyone's life a little bit easier, and we appreciate that. Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Moving on to item number 7.3.2, payroll and accounts.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved that council authorize the following accounts. General checks number 16984 to 170473 in the amount of $184,646.12. Payroll period number 7 in the amount of $94,134.87.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on that? Okay, I will call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Item number 7.3.3, CDC lease agreement.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and the assistant CAO to sign a lease agreement with the PAW Community Development Corp. for the rental of office space at 1559 Gordon Avenue for 2016.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Item number 7.3.4, Community Energy Plan.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved that council authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Manitoba Hydro with regards to the creation and implementation of a community energy plan and to provide funding for an energy advocate.
Thank you. So this is to make the town more energy efficient. Essentially, there will be a person who comes in and will be available to assist with educating the public on things, ways that they can be more energy efficient, businesses on ways that they can be more energy efficient, and then obviously the town is its own entity
Yeah.
in being more energy efficient.
This would be a contract position, just because of the legalities of the way it's working. We didn't have the final approved agreement from them, and I expect to have that in the next day or two.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? You look like you're pondering, Chad.
I'm just making sure that we've worked out all the kinks with.
There were a few kinks as it related to being an employee of the town of the Paw.
Yeah,
Anything under 2 years, we can look at a contract basis.
you can, okay.
And they're sort of reporting to us. We don't have the expertise in that. I was reassured that Manitoba Hydro will be providing that expertise through their Winnipeg office to that person. And we're basically a support system.
Yeah.
We're providing, our financial contribution is a office space upstairs. And it's definitely a positive for the community. It's bringing awareness where people don't know. Rather than going to Manitoba Hydro, they'll be doing a bit of a spread on it, and we're doing this initiative together.
Good. No, that sounds really good. It's exciting. I just wanted to make sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's a really good thing for the community to be involved in doing, because going forward, we want to be one of those energy efficient ones, and why not be the model instead of the follower? And this is an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. And thanks to Councillor Gibb, who kind of brought it to the forefront here and brought it to our attention.
And there's only two towns selected in the province, not Thompson. So it's us and Dauphin.
Is it Brown?
Dauphin and the Paw. Sorry, Tim, I just saw you come in.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, I will call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried.
You can just leave that for now, Chris, and we'll get the new one signed with the
I'll let you know when
on
you're
it.
here. Okay, should we do committee reports now? Or if we didn't? Okay, I was getting confused. Okay, so we will move on to committee reports. Museum Board, Councillor Rock.
Museum, our next meeting's on May the 10th.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Commodore.
We're getting ready, we had a meeting April 20th. We're just getting ready for the trade show. Everybody was signing up, workers. The hospital auxiliary was chosen to work the concession. Usually they had one group, but because of the week change, they put it out, and there was a decision among all of us, because we had 6 people apply for the concession. So I'm sure they're quite happy that they got picked. And on another note, I spoke to the chamber about downtown cleanup. This would be the street sweeping. If everybody got on board with the town and the tenants, downtown tenants work together, and they do the sidewalk, close the street off, and the town will come and sweep and make our town nice and clean. That's really good to have the town and Chamber of Commerce and businesses working together. Positive all the way through.
Awesome.
Still working on it.
Okay.
And that's about it. Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce, that kind of took up all our time.
Okay. Sustainable Forests, Councillor Rock.
Our next meeting, I believe, is in May. I don't know the exact date. We meet quarterly, so.
Okay. Citizens on Patrol, Councillor Zelinski and Commodore.
Meeting.
Okay. CDC, Councillor, the mayor isn't here. Recycling Board, Councillor Commodore.
We had the meeting at Liet's, April 18th. There wasn't a whole lot of new information out there. Same old, same old. The citizens of wherever are still putting all their garbage in the recycling trailers. I don't know what the answer is to that. I am going to be working the trade show and put out information to the public about what's recyclable and what's not. I'll be there on Friday, so with freebies from the recycling, MSN, and I think we just have to get more education out to the public. But please, it's not for garbage. It's not for garbage. It's for recyclables only. And if you keep on putting your garbage in there, it just ends up putting your taxes up, because then recycling board will need more money to clean up your garbage. And other than that, cardboard is up and the tonnage was at 59 tons. So to the people of the Paul that are recycling and doing a good job, keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelsey Recreation Commission, Councillor Gill.
I was unable to attend, didn't have a babysitter, but coming from that, I have a question for, I guess, the other councillors in regards to all the groups going, whether it'd be worthwhile, and again, if it's too much for you guys, let me know as well, that we get the minutes and we post them on here. So prior to the meeting, if anyone has any questions from the group, and it wouldn't be your responsibility, it would be whoever's on that committee, it's their responsibility to say, hey, where's the minutes? And it goes in here, similar to the CAO report, so at least information's going to all the councillors and anyone in the public who wants to see that as well. And keeps the groups honest, right, to get on track for pumping out their minutes. All right.
Okay.
You're in deep thought, Chad.
No, it's a good idea.
Do you want the minutes from every committee?
Yeah. Put it on here.
All right, from the recycling.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be definitely handy. That's true. Okay.
In the car with Grandma. You guys are all like, okay, moving right along. TPCRC, which is me, the Paw Community Renewal Corporation their meeting is tomorrow, so I'll have a report for the next meeting. Library Board, Councillor Zelinski.
Yeah, we had a meeting. I'm not exactly sure what the date was. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, it was 2 weeks after the last council meeting. We met, door counts are up, readership or checking out books is up, whatever it's called. But yeah, other than that, they've got a few ideas for a few different things there. Trying to raise some more funds since they didn't get the budget increase they wanted from town council. So
Those meetings.
there was big meetings on town council who cut their budget. Well, no, we didn't cut their budget, but yeah, other than that, a few up and coming. Oh, the writer in residence is starting in May, and she's going to be here for a month, so that's going to be pretty big news. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else.
Okay, thank you. Joint Committee of Council, Councillors Commodore and Rock.
We have.
No meeting yet. Okay, and then the KSD Committee, I don't think meets until May, right? Okay. Yeah. So that is it. We will move on to the second citizens period. Is there anybody here who would like to make a presentation to council during this time? Don't be shy. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Rock. And we will move right into our committee of the whole.